called away." He lowered his voice and made certain we were alone. "The Official Secrets Act makes it impossible to say more." Naturally, I was intrigued. The Official Secrets Act? Was he a spy? Even spooks must get pensioned off at some point. Shouldn't he have retired some years ago? "Have you been living the secret life all this time?" He smiled, revealing those wonderful teeth again. "No, life intruded, and I found myself married and living a very different life. But I never forgot Florence, and now my wife has passed away, and I wondered if it was possible that Florence still remembered me as I remember her." It was a very romantic story, and the man in front of me glanced quickly at my face, as though checking that I, too, was swept away by stirring emotions. In fact, I was that most delightful British word, gobsmacked. The Watt sisters were spinsters of indeterminate age. It was easy to imagine they'd sprung fully formed from tea-balls and spent their entire lives serving up raisin scones and crustless sandwiches in our little corner of Oxford. To think of either of them having a date, never mind a man carrying the torch for them, was almost more than I could take in. I said the only thing I could think of. "As far as I know, Florence Watt is next door at the tea shop now. Perhaps she's the one you should ask." He nodded, looking relieved. "I thought I'd stop in here and see if her neighbors knew anything that might stop a man from making a fool of himself." My mind boggled at the possibilities. Miss Watt with a husband and 5 children. Not even Miss Watt anymore, but Mrs. Somebody or other. "No, I imagine she'd be pleased to see an old friend." He glanced around my shop, crammed as it was with wools, knitting books and magazines, crochet cottons, needles and hooks, and all the assorted notions, plus the completed sweaters, shawls, and cardigans that hung on the walls or from racks. He looked toward my back room, though I kept that part of the shop curtained off. I used it to hold knitting classes, but in the floor was a trap-door used by my downstairs roomies, a nest of knitting-mad vampires. When I'd first met them after I moved here from Boston, I was scared they'd eat me. Now that I understood them better, I'd become quite fond of them. Still, I kept that curtain shut during shop hours, as my grandmother, the newest vampire, and one who suffered from insomnia, had once or twice shown up in the shop during the day. "This is such a cozy shop. It makes me want to take up knitting." "You should. It's a very relaxing hobby." I don't know how I kept a straight face saying things like that. Knitting was a diabolical exercise in frustration. Most everything I tried to knit ended up looking like something from the hedgehog family. Still, it wouldn't look good to admit that the person running a knitting shop couldn't knit, so I'd picked up a few pat phrases. He nodded, still looking around. "You weren't even born when I was last here. Another woman used to run this shop." "Yes, my grandmother, Agnes Bartlett. She passed away a few months ago. I'm her granddaughter, Lucy." "I'm sure she'd be very proud to know you're doing such a wonderful job." "Thank you." He pulled his shoulders back like a soldier about to go on parade. "Well, Lucy, wish me luck, won't you?" "Yes, of course. Good luck." As he walked out, I saw him glance at his own reflection in the window pane of the door. I suspected it was insecurity rather than vanity that had him checking his appearance, and I found the gesture rather charming. Naturally, I was dying to discuss this very strange turn of events with my grandmother, but at this time of day she'd be sound asleep. Fortunately, the Vampire Knitting Club was meeting that night. She nearly always came up an hour or so before the meeting, so she and I could prepare the back room and have a visit before the others turned up. I glanced at the big clock on the wall. It was 10:30 in the morning. I had some time to wait. I wondered if there was anything in my witch's book of spells about moving time forward, then decided against consulting my grimoire. It would be a frivolous use of my newfound powers. Besides, with my luck, I'd push the clock forward 50 years or something, instead of a couple of hours. I'd only recently discovered I was a witch, and more recently than that, discovered the old grimoire, my family's book of magic spells that had been added to for centuries. There were spells in there for curing rickets and restoring moonling.